So you've already read through this poem one time yourself and then did another reading to attempt to annotate the poem. I'm just going to do a think aloud to share some of the annotations that you might consider making on this poem. We are focusing on the characterization of the father in this poem, so we're focusing on the imagery and figurative language the author uses to develop the character of the father. So anyway, I tried to maybe circle the word choices or diction that seemed important and then highlight the imagery or figurative language that illustrated his character. So a couple notes to make. So first of all, the poem starts off with Sundays too, my father got up early. And so the word too is significant because it's suggesting that it's not only during the week that the father is getting up early to put on his clothes, get the house ready, but also on Sunday. He never gets a day off. So I felt that Sundays too was a significant word choice that the author used at the opening of the poem. Blue, black, cold is a good example of imagery, but I didn't highlight that because I felt like that was more about the setting than the character. Although the setting can contribute to the characterization, it certainly adds to the negative feeling of the poem. I highlighted the description of the father's hands, cracked hands that ached from labor. This is the author using imagery, and I felt that the purpose of that imagery was to show how hard the father worked. I also highlighted at the end of the first stanza, no one ever thanked him, because I felt that was a significant piece of detail the author included to show that the father was unappreciated. There wasn't much that I highlighted in the second stanza, although you could highlight some of his actions because those contribute to the fact that he's hardworking as well. If you go down to the third stanza, I identified the word indifferently as a significant example of diction contributing to character. When you speak indifferently to someone, you speak to them without concern. And so I felt like the whole poem set up how hard the father worked, and yet his children spoke to him indifferently, which added to the fact that maybe they didn't appreciate all that he did. The image of him who had driven out the cold, I felt was a significant description of the father because he's like the master of the house. He takes care of the work and he makes sure the house is ready for his kids. He does all the chores. He works hard, again, contributing to the character trait of the father being hardworking. And then finally at the end, the author mentions love's austere and lonely offices. Austere means harsh or strict, and lonely, you know what lonely means. Certainly that carries a negative connotation. So all of the things that the father did, how hard he worked, how he took care of the house, how he got up early to make sure that everybody else was comfortable, showed that he loved his family, and yet love may have been lonely for him because it sounds like maybe his children didn't appreciate all that he did. This poet or author is writing this as a reflection as an adult, so maybe as an adult he realized all the things his father had done to show love but didn't appreciate those things growing up. So overall, if I had to characterize the father in this passage, I would say he is two things. He is hardworking, and then also he is unappreciated, and I've annotated some evidence that I might use in my essay if I was to discuss one of those traits as a similarity with the father in the other passage.